What up, what up? Welcome back. I'm your host, B. Ryder. It's my co-host,
J. Bell.
and this is Final Thoughts. Today's topic, the reality of dating. Let's check it out.
We grow up to think we should be doing something, and that makes most of us feel inadequate because most of us have never been taught how to do anything. So now what happens is we walk through life seeing women that we're attracted to and not being able to do anything. That's a guy's life. This many will never approach a woman. And the rest of us, we wait for the right moment. And we're not very good at judging when is the right moment. We also don't know what to do when we've decided it's the right moment. That's why you guys constantly experience guys coming up to you and doing creepy shit.
You grow up with this princess mentality where you think if a man really wants you, he's going to fight for you. He's going to come get you. I would think that if a man really wants me, he's going to make the move. He's going to make the effort. How many women miss out on good men because a man you may be interested in or you find attractive, you don't give him a signal or let him know that you're interested because it's too much pride, honestly. You want the man to humble himself by coming up to you, and you get the opportunity to reject him or not. You get to turn down the offers. But the tide has turned on that, and a lot of men are realizing the juice is not worth the squeeze. There's an art to getting the man that you want. And the basics should be being able to give him a signal, flirt, those types of things to let a man know that you have high interest in him. But again, I think a lot of women are afraid of the rejection and they don't want to be humiliated. I know for me, it would be that as well.
Oh.
He's gay! All right. So.
George. We watching. I feel like there was both dropping bars in that.
Yeah, I do too. I think they were spot on. Especially with her little parts where she was speaking. Dropping. And just like confessing and saying like, maybe I had these ideas too.
Right.
I thought that was good.
I appreciate
because she's holding herself accountable for the way she thought at some point.
Right.
And you don't really hear that too often, especially with women.
Yeah, the accountability thing
is
is
what it is.
It's a misnomer when it comes to our opposite sex for some reason. Like responsibility is, I know, but I definitely appreciate her being like, some
Candid
in my
about
past, I've done this. Like, okay, cool,
for sure,
fair. You can't fix a problem unless you know that it exists.
So like, what is your overall, I guess? No, should women shoot their shot?
Yes.
What's the benefit of women shooting their shot?
Well, they get to choose who they want to be with, and they kind of put themselves outside of the game or ahead of other people in where other women are waiting for people to choose them. They're actively choosing who they want to be with. Not only that, but they also help kind of tear down the patriarchy, if that's a thing that anybody cares about. I don't know. Sure.
I'm not so sure as of late. This is April 4th or 5th or something like that, 2022.
Maybe not.
I thought we were moving away from certain ancient things, like toxic masculinity, but looks like we want that. Well, not we, but
only when it benefits us, I guess. Yeah. We like it, but. Hey,
and that's toxic masculinity is tied to patriarchy,
right?
Obviously. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. Like women's mindset on this, but I think the majority of women don't want to do the work. They don't want to get rejected. Mm-hmm. They don't want to initiate conversation with men. They prefer a man to approach them. Mm-hmm. And I think that the way society is set up, that it would just be so much easier if women did it. That's just my personal opinion. Because men doing it, you got to deal with so many things. Just like he said in the video, well, I don't want to run after or chase after and seem like a creeper man, and
Right.
I don't want to put this pressure on her and make her feel this way and all that, uncomfortable.
Right.
And when women approach us, we never feel any of that. Actually, we're surprised often.
Always.
And it's a pleasant one. It's a pleasant surprise that a woman is talking to me.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we don't get that very often, so whenever it happens, there's always an initial moment of what is happening right now, and then once we realize what's happening, it's always oh, okay, okay, cool.
So you feeling it.
You know?
And what do you think the success rate is for women versus men? Like initiating that conversation and getting a number.
Like,
Just the basics. Just the basic.
God, the women are
Getting a number.
initiating is whatever it is far higher than the opposite. You know.
Definitely.
Well, however much you feel like as a woman you get rejected by a man, you don't get rejected nearly as much as a man does. Just like, be okay with that. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, it could be worse. We live it. It is worse. So, yeah, that's the thing.
So you're a man, I believe.
That was so disrespectful.
So how do you actually feel when it's happening to you?
As long as I'm feeling the same way, if I'm attracted to that person, I'm like I said, I'm surprised typically. But if I'm into you, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation. Like, we may buy some drinks, we have a good time.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens after that. We'll see where the night takes us. But it's always a pleasant surprise. Yeah.
I always think that, like, let's see where the night takes us. It's gonna be some dick involved. I'm gonna thank you with.
You can't look at, because that's what they're afraid of. Like I said,
No, they're not. They ain't afraid of it.
Like, if I'm too aggressive, they gonna think that that's all I want.
It ain't like unscrewed it and threw it at her face.
Did they have a hook in it? That's what they're afraid of.
Did it have a hook?
That's what they are afraid of.
That's the issue? A dick hit you in the face. Oh, did it have a hook?
That's
I wonder, bro.
As much as I've heard. Anyway. But that's what they're afraid. They're like, if they approach, men are gonna assume that they just want sex, so they don't approach.
Yeah.
Or that's a reason that they get for that.
I mean, we do want sex, though. Spoiler alert. We do want sex. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to think that we don't. I mean, we're humans. And a lot of people say men are visual. I am very visual. I see a fat. I'm like, I'm going to look.
Yeah.
And you wearing a sundress. And it's just falling.
Bless her.
All right, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
moving on. What do you think about the princess mentality that was brought up?
I think she definitely had a point, and the fact that she related that to herself, that she kind of felt like, yeah, it might have been like a bit of a princess mentality where you expect for things to be a certain way. And like years ago, I feel like we've known about this, that a lot of women, a lot of girls grow up believing in this whole fairy tale type of thing, and it's been pushed on them to where one day you're gonna meet your Prince Charming, and you guys are gonna fall in love at first sight, and you're gonna have this big grandiose wedding and all of this stuff. And it's like, this isn't the reality for most women. Like, this isn't a thing for most women. Like, if you are a beautiful woman, you don't have a problem with meeting a man, right? You know how to give a man the eye, and every man that you want comes your way. You don't have an issue with that, then that's fine for you, right? It works for you. But everyone doesn't live in your reality. And that's part of the issue that I think that we're having, is that a lot of people are getting advice that does not pertain to them. Like, this doesn't work for you. If you live in rural Montana and you're waiting for the guy to approach you who is 6 foot tall and a millionaire, you're going to be alone. That advice is not for you. It can't work for you.
Yeah.
It's not, the odds of it working for you are so slim that you might as well just hang it up. Now, if you live in Miami and you are a woman who is of just a beautiful, remarkable stature, sure, you can probably live this life, wait for any man and every man to come to you, because they're going to come. That works for you. That's not necessarily going to work for the next person, the next one. And I think that's the problem that we're having.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off a portion of what you said about, you know, just being somewhere and thinking that things will be a certain way.
Right.
Like, you know, they have a lot of women that will literally go to work, right, and go home. And that's it. That's what their days consist of. Yet they're on their knees praying that God is going to send them a man, a husband at that, someone that's compatible with them. They believe this. They're gonna and don't they say that God helps those who help themselves? How are you helping yourself? You are not ever in a space for you to even meet a man. And for whatever reason, you have all of these other demands that you, or a list of things that you want this man to have, and you're not even in a space where you can catch him. A lot of them want to meet a rich man.
How you will meet a rich man? You can't even meet a man.
How you gonna read it? Say it again. Say it again.
You gonna meet a rich man, and you can't even meet a man.
Like a physical man.
A living
An
man.
actual man.
Right.
You want a rich man. Right? You can't even meet a broke man. And it gets worse. Not only can you meet a broke man, you're not even meeting a man. A man. As in one man, not a man. Because that's what you're doing. A man. After you pray for a man.
Amen.
Bars, but you know, whatever.
Because I spit hot fire.
I'm not a rapper.
Because I'm done. Spit hot fire. That's true story though, man. Like, like a lot of women don't put themselves in a position to meet men. Yeah. And yet they want a man.
And do nothing about it.
Yeah, do nothing about it. Don't try to go into spaces where men may reside in order to possibly meet someone. You know, they expect for a man to come to them. The things that he was saying basically pertain to the average man. The things he was saying, they weren't for top tier millionaire basketball player or even super attractive guy, right? What he was talking about was the average guy, the average 9-to-5 fella. That's it. Average 9-to-5 guy, he isn't gonna talk to every woman he meets. Average 9-to-5 guy doesn't do that. Average 9-to-5 guy is gonna wait for a moment where he feels confident enough to approach you.
Yeah.
So a lot of women are honestly not waiting for that average guy. They're waiting for the guy with the most gusto, the most confidence, the most this or that to approach them. And that guy comes with some flaws that y'all aren't always willing to take on. That guy has options. I've said this before, right? You don't want to limit yourself to the guy who has options because you're not going to be his first one.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Damn, that kind of felt like your final thoughts. Like, without you saying this is my final thoughts. I was like, yo, yeah. But yeah, but we're not wrong. I just had to say that.
Is the point.
Yeah, it would be nice, you know what I'm saying, like for a woman to initiate conversation and see where things go. I think if we're all doing it, it'll be a rise in relationships and everything like that. People won't be suffering from being single for so long and loneliness and all that kind of stuff. But it's what bothers me is the refusal, like for women, because men are gonna do what men do. They're gonna go out and they're gonna hunt, quote unquote. But it's the refusal for women that just makes me feel like this is crazy. You know you like this man, you know you have a crush on him or whatever, and you just saying you can't say anything to him, you can't communicate to him that you feeling him. That's just like, what is it about that action that's just so like, oh my God, no, the world's gonna burn if I do this. I don't understand it. It's completely irrational, and I think we need to grow out of this behavior. We really do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people that's single right now, and it's just like suffering in their singlehood and refuse to do anything about it. They don't want to put themselves in spaces where they can be seen. They don't want to initiate conversations. And I'm talking about women specifically. And sometimes this applies to men too. You know, but like I said, the culture, our cultures, the men culture and women's culture are different. Men are taught to go out and do this. Women aren't. And she said that in the video, and it's just coming from a woman. So don't say it was me.
The guy said it as well in the beginning of his video. He said basically that we're encouraged, we're told that we have to do something, right?
Yeah.
But we're not taught how to do it. So we exist in this dynamic where we know we're supposed to be doing something, but we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we end up in situations where we see beautiful women that we would love to talk to, but we don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you get situations where a guy is being creepy, right? He might not even know that he's being creepy, but he is. You feel it. But he has this feeling of, I want to talk to her. I want to say something to her, but I don't know how to do it. And so he ends up following you around Walmart, not knowing what to say, but wanting to say something. Right? And I know that a lot of women have experienced this. And I'm here to tell you that it's not always like a guy being aggressive or trying to stalk you,
weird
type of situation. It's not always that. 'Cause I've been that guy before who has wanted to say something to a woman, but didn't know what to say. And that leads us to doing things that you would see as weird or creepy. That happens, right? But that's the realm that we live in right now. If women aren't going to step up and say something to us or even give us a signal that they like us, then the onus is on men to assume a lot. Yeah. And when we assume a lot, you get situations like the creepy guy. That's what you get. If we're not gonna live in a world where, well, if a woman wants me, she's gonna say something and I'm gonna know that she likes me, then as a man, I have to assume that every woman is available to me. And that's going to lead to me getting it very wrong sometimes. And sometimes I'm going to get it right. But you have to accept that I'm going to get it wrong at the same time. If I have the power, you have to accept that I'm going to get that wrong. If you aren't going to accept some of that power with it.
Okay. I'm going to say this and we could probably transition into our final thoughts.
Yeah.
Again, piggybacking off what you just said, we posted a video last year about pickup artists, right? And you wonder why they have such a thing, right? It's AFCs. It's called Average Frustrated Chumps.
That's
Right? Because they're the shy guy. They're the guy that wants to do something but doesn't know how to. And it's the guy that'll be trying to like figure you out as he's walking through Walmart, if that's the situation. Trying to figure out like, okay, I don't know, I want to say something, I don't know what to say it, how to present it. I don't want to get rejected, but I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. This is a million things going through this person's mind. They're not trying to be a creep. So what they do, they go to classes taught by Mystery or any of his other colleagues, and they try to learn how to do this shit because it's not easy. It's not easy. Rejection in any form is just not easy. When you apply for something and for a job and they reject you, you feel that shit. Just like men try to talk to women and we get rejected, we feel that. And it's not a good feeling. So you try to do things to take away, to limit it to its least possible, denominator. Like, we don't want this to happen a lot. And that's one of the reasons why they go to pickup artists. And a lot of women will be like, well, they manipulate and they do this, they do all that kind of stuff. Mostly, it's men who are shy, who don't like rejection, that's really just trying to establish a good connection with a person that they want.
True that.
So what's your final
thoughts is, we've said this so many times, ladies, like, get out of your own way. Like, we're moving into a different era and things are gonna have to change, and that's just really the bottom line. Like, we can do things the same, we can, but understand that we're not living in the same world. Like, when a man goes out and he approaches a woman, there used to be a time where he could be more aggressive and not be condemned for it. Nowadays, if a man makes the wrong move or makes a mistake, that could come with jail time. That could come with a loss of a job and finances. It could come with a myriad of punishments. So we've basically gotten to a point in life where we're condemning this type of behavior. But as I've said before, if we left relationships up to women, everybody would be single. Because y'all aren't going to do it. You aren't going to do it. Like, be real with yourself. Are you going to go up to that man and say, hey, how you doing? I like you. I'm attracted to you. Maybe we should go out sometime. Are you going to do that? If you're not going to do it, then you're leaving the power in our hands, right? And with that comes a level of responsibility with that. What you got?
All right. This is my final thoughts, and it's actually going to be towards the fellas. We focused on the women a lot during this video, as we should, but this is actually going to be towards the fellas. Fellas. And this is probably going to be controversial. I might get canceled at some point in the future. Fuck it.
I like it already.
We have been feminized so much by this current whatever's going on. We have lost our hunter's edge, right? Because what's been taught to us is that we go out and we hunt, we go and get it. And what society has taught you, especially from women, is that, well, you need to be, you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't initiate sex without the person's consent. And it's just like, does that really happen in real life? I've known a lot of women who would prefer you not to ask for sex and to just initiate it.
That's a true story.
You can look at me as crazy or whatever. Now, of course, I'm not condoning rape or anything like that. Again, I'm not condoning rape. But when you're comfortable with somebody, a woman especially, they don't want you to just ask them to do that shit. But we live in a culture where men feel like they can't even just try to initiate sex. Because, oh, you're this, you're that. We have all these definitions and things we throw at people. You're this, and that is. And it stands in the way of us just being fucking men. It's like we're afraid of our masculinity. And the crazy thing is, they're not afraid of our masculinity, but they made you think that they are. So you respond differently.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking bars, nigga.
So you respond differently, and you don't know how to handle situations anymore. We, men. And I just want us to get back on page. Brothers. We can't let masculinity slip away. Because it doesn't make any sense. We need our masculinity, and they need the shit too.
They want it.
They want it. I could go on and on and on and on about this kind of stuff. But my brothers, fellas, we gotta be men.
It's just, it's really funny though, to be real. Because it's like you get condemned for the very same thing that you are adored by others for. It's just, the messages we get from people are just very perplexing, is all.
It's weird. Like in current day times, you see a lot of women protesting against masculinity, yet they like masculinity.
Right.
They want to cherry pick what's considered toxic.
That's true.
And the thing is, brothers, we don't get to choose what toxic masculinity is.
That's a big problem.
We don't get to choose that.
And it becomes...
So you don't know what you're doing at any point in time, because if enough women say that's toxic, it's toxic.
Yeah.
End of story. Close the book. Throw away the key.
It's really weird.
You can hit somebody and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's what a man does.
Because that's what a man does.
That's what a man does.
But you can't initiate a conversation?
No.
Because that's what a creep does. Not what a man does.
It's weird. If you talk to anybody who's actually had sex and been out here in the field for a while, they'll tell you that probably 90% of the time, the discussion of sex is never overt. It's always under the table.
Yeah.
You can go the entire night with someone basically talking about sex, but not overtly, and knowing exactly what that person wants and never explicitly saying it. So when people say explicit affirmation, what does that mean? Like this to me comes from someone who's never really done this, who's never talked to a woman, who's never brought someone back to the house knowing what's happening without discussing it overtly. But
like I said, they're being feminized so much that they are thinking like women instead of thinking like men. And that's the problem. Because if she not going to initiate it,
right,
and you thinking like women, so that means you're not going to initiate it. So who the hell's going?
Like I said, if you leave it up to women, women are not going to do it. And if you
for the majority
think
of
the
the
same
time.
way, you're not going to do it either. But anyway. As I should.
Well beyond our final thoughts. More final, additional.
Additional. I'm your host, B. Ryder. It's my co-host.
J. Bell.
And this has been
Final thoughts.
For women, what they often do is they say, oh no, but that's not true. Guys do come up to me like that. Yeah, 1%. 1% of men. And it's always the loudest guy in the room. It's the loudest guy in the room or the loudest guy on the street. And of course that guy is the one you always meet. Of course it is. I always meet players. Of course, they're the ones who approach you. Players are the ones that are good at that. They're the ones that do approach you. So if you're hanging back and waiting for guys to do it, of course you only meet players. Of course you only meet the loudest guy in the room. Of course you only meet that cocky guy who doesn't actually give you anything more. Of course. Because 10 minutes later, he's doing it with the next person.